Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special edition of the ValorCast of the ISFL ValorCast. I'm Valor, and I'm not alone for this episode. I got a guest with me today.
Yep, I'm Noel, Max Payne, defensive tackle in Minnesota right now, and joining Valor for a mock draft.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of mocks, and I'm like, you know what? I've been planning on doing one since I came back to the league, and I see some of them with some wild ones. I'm like, they haven't seen nothing yet. That's the thing. I get pretty cocky when I make these, because I have a certain feeling where each player goes. But for this one, I actually don't know because I haven't been in the league for quite a long time. It's been a couple seasons.
I'm a pretty new create myself. I mean, I've only been in the league now for 3 weeks or so.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
and
always good for me to bring in somebody like. The thing with my podcast is I love elevating the newer gen players, and this should help you because for GMs, could you please draft this guy below me in the first round? I really love to see him there.
Hey, I'd love to be there, but this is a strong rookie class. I know we've talked about it in the Discord quite a bit, but just even looking at the big board that you have here, bunch of good recreates with high TPE already, bunch of new guys. I mean, I've like I said, I've been in the league about 3 weeks. I'm at 219 TPE as a new player. I'm the 20th prospect on the board just based on TPE.
Like, I'm in the top 10 somehow, and I'm only at like 225.
You're 16 at 225.
Yeah, and there are some people who are already at the cap or close to it.
Yeah, quite a few.
All right, so let's get onto the board here. So, obviously, I'll explain how this works. So, I got this board from Lemon. If you don't know, it's a reskin version of the Arizona scouting sheet without the scouting info. Thank goodness, because leaking someone's scouting sheet is not cool. Trust me, I've gotten bad water for somehow spying on one in SHL before, so that's how I
go ahead.
Yeah. So if you take a look at the board, this is as of the standings as of last night's sim, week 14. This is as I'm recording this. So as you can see right now, I'll explain what we have here. So Black Forest, the pick number 1 here, it's their own pick. The second one's not theirs, it's Cape Town's pick, but they've acquired via trade. Osaka has their own, then this is the San Jose pick. Honolulu's pick here is Orange County. This is their own pick. This is their own pick. This is their own pick. This was acquired from NOLA. This was acquired from Baltimore. So anyway, let's get right into the board. We'll save the questions for last. So, pick number 1 here. I think this is pretty obvious who I think it's going to be first overall. In my opinion.
Yep. And that was who I had going there as well. We definitely are in alignment there.
He was Opera Phantom is a longtime veteran in the league, former HO member. His last player was JQ III, who was the quarterback for the Austin Copperheads for many years, and was part of the S45 championship team. So, pretty much the consensus first overall pick.
It doesn't hurt that Black Forest, I mean, they need everything, but
Black Forest pretty much needs everything. Mostly
a linebacker
on defense.
is definitely a big get for them, though. They've got 4 linebackers on the roster. 2 of them are IA, and none of them are signed after season 54.
Yeah, which is pretty crazy to think of that. Black Forest is just pretty much they're at rock bottom right now since they had first overall last year. Took Juosu with that pick, who is another longtime user. So, in my opinion, I feel like what they should probably do is mainly focus on recreates to try and get established vets on the team, maybe get a first gen or 2.
Yep.
So, with this pretty obvious thing of defense here, second overall is them again, but I'm not sure who do we put here. There has been some talks about. I've heard a rumor about Griffin Stone going here, but he's going to be listed here as a running back, but I'm not sure if he switched to wide receiver since then.
I could see Stone, but I also looking at their minors, they have a couple wide receivers and a couple running backs already down in the DSFL right now. I personally like them going back-to-back defense here, and I had them taking the safety Villanova, Too Sweet.
Too
In
sweet.
my
Let me go.
mock, he's 7th in the TPE, but
Yes.
I mean they could
Originally,
go
I was
all
planning
kinds of
on
ways.
making this a free-man pod with him in there, but due to outside work obligations, he couldn't be here. So he's on my short list to be on a future episode. To me, he makes a lot of sense and is probably likely to be one of the earlier first gens to go.
And the
And
other
I
thing
see
I
him
thought
very
about,
active in the rookie Discord as well.
yeah, he's always in the Discord. The other guy I thought about there was Charlie Kelly is the player named Tyler Toksum04. I haven't
Yeah.
really seen him a lot in the Discord, but he's a recreate, so I assume that most people probably know who he is if they wanted to go back-to-back linebacker. But again, I don't think they do. My pick would be Villanola for them.
Yeah. Okay. So pick number 3, of course. Remember, you can edit this as well. I gave you perms to do
Yep.
that. Because you just select the forum name and their name pops up. So
Yep.
Osaka here. This is definitely an interesting one. So let me go on their budget sheet and see what they have. Because Osaka is entering a rebuild too. They just traded everybody. Let's see. Right now, they were originally have their running back is retiring. Their running back, the youngest one, is Hortle at S52. The receiver core is pretty young. So there is a lot of stuff they could possibly do here. Let me take a look at. They do have a QB they just traded for, but it's probably going to retire pretty soon in Shady. Let's take a look. So I could see them taking Muford here because the player's name is forcing to Osaka, but I could see them go double offense here because if you look at the running back situation here, Rose Flago, aka Soup, just recreated, so they're going to need another running back.
Yep. Yeah. I know I had them in my mock. I had them double offense there. This is actually where I had Griffin Stone going.
Yeah, I definitely think Stone would be a great fit here.
I could also
Although
see
I do not rule out possibly somebody like myself because I am a former GM of the team when they were called the Chicago Butchers.
Okay. Yeah, then that connection would work too. Or also
And I
CK.
have made a sig for Tricera, who is in this draft, this big man Blastoise. So the rules with GMs, for those who don't know and you're watching for the first time, they have to be taken with the team's highest available second round pick. So this one I'm going to put. So what's his player username again? Let me take a look.
Triceracop.
No, you said Griffith Stone.
His username's Griff. Sorry.
Oh, simply Griff. Oh, there he is. Yeah, Griff is definitely somebody who I expect to go in the first round. Basically, I don't see him that much, to be honest, but he is quite active in Minnesota's locker room.
Yeah.
From what I see. Okay, so this pick is pretty obvious, I feel like, because he's a QB and pretty much is trying to force his way here. And he is a former GM too. Obviously, I'm going to put Buford here at this pick. Long-time recreate as well. Long-time former Butchers GM as well.
Yeah. And so far, you have mirrored my mock, pretty much.
Yeah,
So
it's pretty similar.
I'm in agreement with you here. I'm sure we'll
Yeah.
have some debates later.
Yeah. Okay. Pick 5 here. This is the Honolulu pick that was acquired from Orange County. Now, This one's a bit tricky to think of because Honolulu is pretty much in a team that's good, but not good enough because they're literally the team that's hated by the sim the most, despite how much TPE they have. Like, let me go on their page. I pull up their page. Their running back situation, quite good. Because you got their QB, very good, also at his peak. Wide receiver core, very good as well.
Couple good O
Like,
linemen. Yeah, I mean the
lineman, good. I could
linebackers.
see them looking at linebacker potentially or safety because they could go kicker here, but it's kind of because let's take a look at their farm system. Oh, right. They have a young running back there. They also got Scotty down there as well.
And they have a kicker in them that they got last draft. So they
Yeah.
don't even really need that.
Although last year's draft was not very good, so I cannot rule out possibly a sneaky Raph pick here, or Athena, as most people refer
Yep.
to. But I feel they probably go best player available, most likely. I cannot rule out a possible trade
So
because all
that's
their players are quite. I feel like maybe D tackle potentially. I'd say they go best player available.
yeah. I'm with you there. Best player available. And I mean right now that's another running back, which that makes it even a little tougher to
A bit
predict that because
questionable. Yeah,
so
because it could be him, it could be me, for example.
I would even maybe see it if
Because
they go
I
down
literally,
to
when I was writing the, sorry to interrupt, but I was like writing the advice from GM articles. Honolulu literally turned that into a scouting conversation pretty quickly.
so what I was saying is rather than taking exactly the best player available based on TP, maybe going down and grabbing Joe Steele and getting Wailiki to add to their receiver room because their receivers, while they are quite good,
They're
you're
going to
looking.
start aging eventually.
You got one that was a 45 draft, a 47, and a 49. So the youngest is a
Because that guy
49
literally
draft.
just recently hit regression, the fourth,
Yep.
and that's 52, so it's pretty much. We now go to Sarasota, who's in a pretty similar situation to Honolulu. Let's go into the budget sheet, and I'm not sharing it, but let's see here. Quarterback situation, they're very good. Running back situation, very good. Although they could have a running back that could get replaced. Wide receiver, I feel like they could go with a replacement here because they're struggling wide receiver wise. Let's see, do they have any in their farm system? They don't. But they just took a QB recently, so I think they go wide receiver. Although they have a linebacker who is aging out too.
Yeah, Sarasota could use quite a few things here too, just based on their age. I mean, there can be arguments made for a few different players on the board here. Again, going back to my mock, I actually gave them a running back, but whenever I did mine, they were picking ninth. So some of the players that are
Since
here now
then,
are
the
off the
Sim has
board.
not treated them quite well.
So yeah, Charlie Kelly, linebacker, might fit. Tyler Toksum might fit here.
Yeah, I would like for them to take a linebacker or wide receiver. That's what I put. And so where is he on the board? What's his
Fourth
player?
down, Tyler
Fourth
Toksum.
down, so it's
Yeah,
Tyler
Tyler Toksum.
Toksum. Let me put him on there. Yeah. I feel that this is a very strong first gen class, but also a strong recreate class as well. Like, this is the best draft ISFL has had in a couple seasons.
Yeah. I can't speak to the past, but I just, like I said, from talking in the Discord and stuff, I know there's a lot of good active users.
Yeah. And especially, we could see some more coming over from SHL pretty soon with the announcement that a player portal's in the works, which is literally a clone of the SHL version.
Yep.
Okay, back to Honolulu at 7. After they take a wide receiver here, I don't know what they do. I cannot rule out the possibility that this could be a trade, Like that's the thing with Honolulu. I smell that I put that as a trade question mark with that.
Yeah, a trade's definitely a possibility on either of their picks. And I think they could get a haul because of how good this class is. Um, but if they don't want to trade out, and let's just, for the sake of making this easier on ourselves, let's not worry about the trades.
Yeah, we're
Um,
not doing any trades here, but you expect to be a couple.
I linebacker, cornerback, something like that might fit well here because, again, just based on age, their linebacker room is a couple season 46s and a season 50. Their cornerback room is 47, 48, and then 52, and they don't have either of those in their minors. So maybe Zag, Reno Vega, maybe Casey, or not,
Yeah, I
I'm
was
sorry,
thinking
maybe.
Reno Vega there as well.
Yeah, maybe Oilman Dan with Laramie Rose as the linebacker, but yeah, I like
I was
Zag.
thinking Vegas. So what's his username again? I just want to make
Zag,
sure.
ZAG.
Zag. Let me put him on there. There it is. Yeah, that's what. That's because this is another guy who's very active in rookie Discord. I see him on there every day. He's a good person to talk to.
Yep. Yeah, I see him in there a lot too. Definitely easy.
Hang on, I'll be back. Continue the discussion with the next picks. I gotta go to the
Yeah,
bathroom real quick.
yeah, no problem. All right, so next pick up on the board here is for the New York Silverbacks. Uh, Going on to their budget sheet, the Silverbacks have quite a. They're kind of in a similar situation to Honolulu, where they've got a solid team, but they still have some holes that they could fill. Um, Corner, which they just missed out on Zag in our mock here. Corner would have been good. I could see where they could maybe look at going for like a defensive lineman because they are a little older there. Chanos is season 48, and he's really their only good defensive lineman. Um, Passive man, season 45. McDonald's inactive. So yeah, they definitely they have a defensive end in the minors, but I could definitely see a defensive lineman here. Um, and just we're going to go off the draft board. I can't take myself here as much as I would like to. uh, just I can't put myself as the first defensive tackle off the board. And frankly, um, Diggersby, Cowboy Blunder, also new create, very active in the Discord chat. I'm going to throw Diggersby here to New York. Let me just get to that page. I just think Diggersby, a defensive tackle to New York, makes way too much sense to not take for them here at 8. And then moving on to pick 9, since it's just me flying solo right now, Colorado. Let's see. They could use defense first, I think, which this is such a spot for them to be in. Like the best players on the board right now are probably running backs, and while their current roster could probably use an upgrade at running back, because they've got a couple good ones, but they're season 48, season 49. So like we've been saying, that's starting to get closer to regression. They also have 2 running backs in their DSFL system as well, though. So running back's just not really a position of need for Colorado. This is another spot where I think they could trade down, but since we're not trading here, I think they're going to go with their best defensive player available that seems like a fit for them. And with what's left on the board, man, I think we're going to go ahead and give them Laramie Rose here because their linebacker room, couple good ones with Collins and Strong, Wetwilla and Infern, but they were both season 48 creates. And then they have Darkness Rising from a season 50 create who's getting better, 873 TPE, but then nothing coming in the pipeline. So for me, I think the biggest thing for Colorado is defense, and I think the best defensive player on the board here is going to be their pick. So we're going to give them Oil Man Dan and Laramie Rose. All right. Moving on to pick number 10. The Yellowknife Wraiths. The Wraiths, looking at their sheet, they have only one player in the DSFL right now, and that's a wide receiver. They definitely need some help. Quarterback Jack Cannon is getting, he's season 50, so he's starting to hit the upswing here. He should be doing better and better as the seasons progress. Their running back room is actually a spot where I think they could end up grabbing someone because their running backs are all 48 or older. So putting somebody at running back into their minor league system here, I think makes a lot of sense. So I actually think that, yeah, I actually just about to give you away here, Valor. I think Yellowknife sitting at 10 could use a running back, and it's going to probably come down to either you, Chicken Lips, or CK. So it depends if they want to go with a recreate, they could go with CK or
I've had a
Chicken
lot of
Lips.
discussions in my locker room, so I think there's a good chance that this is me here potentially.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah,
I'm good with
I think I'm
mocking you here.
I think I'm gonna just put myself here and call it. Like, here's the thing. I kind of expect Yellowknife to take me, but if I'm available there for a couple of reasons. One, I've been talking in their locker room. Two, you know the whole scandal about them creating Temu dots, like the whole knots thing you've seen in rookie Discord.
I've seen a little
That
bit
was
of it,
pretty
yeah.
much that was pretty much a rib joke on me because I was making dots cards and they're like, "You need to come join knots." I'm like, "Dude, draft me first before you do."
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, then we're moving on. Then we're already at pick 11 here. I know you weren't in here. I was talking about New York. Their team is in a similar situation to what we said about Honolulu, where they're solid, but they definitely could use some help. Defensive line was a spot that I put a big area in need, and I said I'm not going to mock myself here. I feel I can't take myself as the first defensive tackle off the board, and Diggersby's always in Discord, so that's why I sent him to New York there.
That is definitely seems like a very New York pick as well.
Now, I will say here with their second pick, I think they almost have to continue to build on their defense. And secondary specifically is a spot where I think they have a big area of need. The issue there is that you're moving pretty far down the board to grab a secondary pick. But on the flip side of that, we've talked about how strong this draft class is. So even taking a guy who he's ranked 21st in TP right now, Thor is the pick here. I think he's a recreate. I've seen his posts and stuff in the server. I know he's going to be, a good pick for someone.
A member
And
free film nonetheless.
the fit makes it. They need defense. They need a corner. It makes too much sense to pass on there.
If you don't know, he was the last quarterback that my previous player, Nakiri Ayame, who was my quarterback then in Cape Town.
Okay. I did not.
Okay, Austin here. Because if Yellowknife would have not taken me here at 10, I would have mocked myself here.
Yeah, I could see where they could use a running back. Looking at their budget sheet, they have a couple good ones. Season 48 and season 49 with Moody and Ahmed Chips. And they're both signed for
my boss at Dots.
they're both signed for quite a while. Both of them.
But take a look at their wide receiver core. That's not good.
Yeah, they could definitely use a wide receiver as well. So I guess then, if you're looking
they do have a wide receiver in the system, but he's not earning quite well.
Yeah, I see that. He's still at 254 TPE, and he's from season 51, so he's probably IA at this
Yeah,
point.
I expect a wide receiver pick here for Austin.
I could see that. I can definitely see where, and they could even get. There's so many good running backs.
Yeah.
It wouldn't shock me if one of them swapped to be a wide receiver. But going just based on the positions that we are sitting at right now, they're they're probably going to look at either Shiamus, which I haven't really seen a lot from him. I don't know if you have, or Seymour Beanman the fourth or fifth. At least he's a recreate. He might make more sense there.
Both of these people form SHL users, by the way. I think I'll say I'll put Sheamus here. Now, he's a pretty quiet person, but he's quite active in the locker room if you pick him.
Okay.
So this makes a lot of sense, continuing the SHL stuff. Okay, Black Forest for the third time. If you don't know, this is the Baltimore pick. So, they went with double defense. Do they go with defense again here, or do they finally take somebody on offense?
I think they got to go best player available here. Their running back room is mostly old. They have they do have a season 53 in Tom Turbo with 408 TP already, so he's probably going to be their main back.
Yeah.
And
Although they
let's see.
said they want to do a backfield by committee system if they were to take somebody like me, for example.
And the other thing I think would be good here, Turbo is a receiving back. So if they would grab into trenches, who is, I
Yeah.
believe, a power back, um, I think so. CK,
So this is
yeah, he is a
CK.
power back. So I think
Yeah.
that again, trenches and Turbo could be a pretty good backfield.
Right. And then we go to Arizona. So I have a bit of a hunch about them. So here's the thing. One of the main problems about the league and why Arizona's been good, people have been forcing their way there. And this has become a massive problem in the league, in my opinion.
So who do you have going here?
Arizona's a tricky one to predict here. Since their GM was going to go as a quarterback, but then decided nah, and is going to enter next season as a quarterback again. So,
So they don't need a quarterback.
yeah, their quarterback's going to be their GM. Their running back situation's pretty good, although Kale Salad just entered regression. They got three running backs near 1,000 TPE, actually, so.
And both KDR and Lunar are still a few seasons away from regression, so
They're
they're
quite
okay.
young. Receiver, oh, I think they could go receiver because Bamford is getting hit by regression pretty badly, unless they have someone like their O line's pretty decent. D line, maybe they could get. I feel like D line linebacker. Oh, I think they probably go defense here because look at the age of some of the players there.
Yeah, their D line, aside from Donut Man, they're old. um, and same with linebacker. Aside from Tomlin or Knifey Man, they're also getting up there. I
Although
mean,
they do have a CV in the minor system in McGritty, so
yeah, I still I like your thought of defensive player here. I guess flip a coin because you're either looking at it's Tim G, who is a recreate. Also, I know he's very active in the PBE as well.
yeah.
So he could be a good linebacker pick for them. So it's ITZ Tim G.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking here as well. All right, so this is what we have here. This is our projected first round. Let's go to round two. Why the heck not? I think we go 2 rounds and then stop and then good questions. Okay, first time we see the Hawks on the board here. This was the pick they got back from Black Forest.
Yep.
So let's take a look at the Hawks.
Looking at the Hawks, my initial gut reaction, they also are probably going to be looking either defensive line or they could go running back. They don't have anyone over 1,000 TPE as we sit here today at running back.
Despite having an S51 guy who's probably going to get there.
Yeah, he'll probably get there, but he might be the only one. I'm not sure how active KC15 is because S48 still hasn't quite hit it yet. I mean, maybe they'll get there. Let me see. Just looking at that. Well, they're still updating.
D tackle pretty soon as well, as Go's going to get hit by regression pretty badly. Their corners are starting to get there in age too, so I think they're fine for now, but let's see. If you look at the DSFL, they have a linebacker and 2 corners waiting to get called up.
Yep. That's why I think I'd go running back here. So I would either give them.
Yeah, I think they go. I think Chicken Lips probably goes here.
Yeah, I mean it's if they want the recreate or if they want the new player, because it's either Chicken Lips or Casey. Those are their 2 choices here.
Yeah. And then we go to Cape Town here. Now, most mocks have me going here if I don't get taken in the first round, and there's a good reason. My last player was pretty much the face of the Cape Town franchise for a long time.
So, Cape Town here, for me, I think they have to also go running back. So they have a couple linebackers.
Well. They said they needed one as well. That is probably their biggest need.
They have a couple linebackers in the minors, in the DSFL, but offensively, running back is a huge need for them because aside from Connor Craig Jr. or Connor Craig Jr. DeWalt, they don't have anything there. So I would say probably Casey, since with the way the board's fallen, Casey's our top running back on the board. He almost has to go here.
Yeah. Because I think Chicken Lips and Casey are intertwinable.
Yeah.
Because look at Casey's name. Don't be surprised if Baltimore takes him at 15. Now we go to stocking here, and this one is what we call an obvious pick because this is our first GM pick.
Yep. No choice there. They take
no
the
choice.
GM.
They have to go with GM because they're among 3 other teams who have one. Black Forest has to take one, New York's got to take one, and NOLA's got to take one.
So back into Yellowknife. I know we talked earlier. I have not spoken with anyone from Yellowknife yet, but I feel like they need a defensive tackle. My player is still on the board.
So you want me to slap you here?
I'm gonna put myself into Yellowknife, even though like I said, I haven't spoken with them at all yet. They need a defensive tackle. I think another option for them is if they would go with Athena or Raf here, because they also could probably use a kicker.
If Athena's willing to switch, she's probably going in the first round.
Agreed.
Because I feel like Raf is literally Tesla 2.0. Yeah, very nice person in the locker room. Very easy to talk to. Very active, but also compared to Tesla, Raf is also a graphics machine gun in SHL, but also a media machine over in ISFL.
Did you read the book that she wrote?
Yes, it's like when you literally put up 20,000 word articles, like it's nothing. I barely struggle to write 1,000 words. So
yeah,
that's why I just get, and my main calling is graphic. So yeah, okay, the Otters' first pick here. So the Otters are in a pretty interesting spot. They're in a rebuild as well. So let's go to their board. As you can see right now, so they have a young QB in Waldo. So
looking at their board, they only have one running back on the roster.
And that's William Strong. And Big Red. Yeah, I've seen this user before, my original GM at Yellowknife. If anyone doesn't know, he's probably still watching me somewhere. Yeah, I had to fire the joke off once, so let's move on.
The biggest thing here for them is all the running backs that are the higher end TPE earners are off the board. The top running back left is Shawnee 148, and I know he is very active in Discord, but he
Why
is.
is he on the board this way is also a massive question as well. Because big user over at SHL as well.
I think just the fact he's only got 186
This is a very
TPE.
stacked running back class too. A lot of
Yeah.
elite recreates chose that spot too. Also, dog cameo. Okay, while Noel's dealing with his dog, Cape Town again at pick 20. Whenever he gets back, I think Cape Town goes best available here, to be honest. So, looking at the board, I have what I call the prospect board here. The best player available, even though would be Raph, but if we look position-wise, it's mostly kickers here. I could see them. Yeah, I feel like if they have to go defense here, I feel like they could take somebody like Jeffy, in my opinion. Jeffy is a long-time user in the league and makes a lot of sense, in my opinion.
Yeah, I could see that. Or if they wanted to go offense again, they what was his name? Bean Man. Now I lost
Which
him.
is Seymour.
Give him Jeffy.
I'll just put Jeffy here because this is what I think. No reason he should be on the board this late, but this is also a super stacked class. So. Okay, Black Forest. Well, we all know what this is going to be. Let me put what is that username? Yeah, there it is. It's their GM Jackie, so. New York, this is another GM. I forgot what their GM is, though. Oh, God.
T Money's New Orleans.
Yeah. So
It's
let's just.
Daniel.
I'm gonna just quickly.
Daniel.
Oh yeah, it's Daniel. Yeah. Yeah. So let's just quickly put that. Ad sells New York's quarterback situation. Colorado's an interesting one here. Another.
Yeah. I was saying whenever I picked for Colorado while you were gone, they don't have a ton of holes to fill.
Because Colorado just came out of the rebuild. They're probably going to be the best team in the NFC for a few more seasons.
So I gave them a linebacker, pick one. I think corner or safety would be the next pick here, just because that's where they're.
Taking a look at the board, the best available safety on the board that's not team money is Specs corner is Spice Gardner, who I see in the locker room quite often.
Yeah. So I think you want to throw some coach there. We can do that.
Yeah, I was going to say some coach probably goes here. Okay, Yellowknife's second pick in the second round.
All right, so they covered running back in the first round. They grabbed DT in the second round here already. Minor or DSFL, they have a wide receiver. I am thinking they don't have any safeties. They have one safety on their roster, and he's an IA. It's we're reaching down the board a little bit, but unless we get someone to change, wow, boy,
I think they just go best available, probably.
Yeah. So best available.
Do we just put Raph here just cause? I think we just put Raph here.
Yeah. And let me just say, if this would fall this way, I would be thrilled to share a locker room with her and just pick her
Yeah,
brain
basically us four together.
with
I
how
already
she
shared locker room with her in Kansas City, so
just like
very
you
nice.
said before,
Okay,
she's
Nola.
awesome.
Well, let's just cut into. Well, Nola is a.
Yep.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. No
Okay,
choice.
so Copperheads again.
So let's see. Our first pick for them, we gave them their top wide receiver that was on the board at the time. I still think they might go back to back wide receivers to really build up that room. The other choice would be the top running back available. I think they have to continue to go offense. I know I talked about that in my mock draft. They are one of the top teams out there as far as record wise, but they don't score any points. So I would probably give them
I mean, to
Seymour
be
here.
fair, Austin is doing this with a rookie quarterback, by the way.
Yeah. I think Seymour is the pick here, and give them another wide receiver just to continue building up their weapon base.
Yes. Okay, so we go to Baltimore at pick 27. They took Chicken Lips with their first pick. Why do they go here?
Man, probably too early still for the offensive lineman. D
But I
line,
have seen
maybe.
O-linemen go as early as the late first before, so don't be surprised. They mainly put IA players at O-line, or people who are low earners.
I tell you what they might do here is add the tight end, the top tight end on the board, CLG
CLG.
Rampage.
Yeah,
They
I
don't
think so too.
they don't
CLG
have they
is a
don't have a tight
legendary user as well.
yeah, and they don't have one on the roster. So again, the fit makes sense.
And for this block, we will do our final projected thing here with Arizona. So, what did they do here? They took it's TIMG
It's
with
Tim
the
G. Yeah, it's Tim G.
Tim G. It's okay. So they took linebacker here. Do they go defense again?
Yeah, I mean it's either they almost have to go defensive line here if there's anything available.
Yeah.
Which
Like
top
according to the board.
Zach 2211 Cameron Fryer is the top defensive lineman available, but that's reaching down a little bit. Do they go back? Do they get another linebacker here?
Yeah, which I could see Ryder Colt go here. For corner, they could go Pisley Husk here as well.
I don't hate that either, because their corner room, season 43, season 49. By the time he gets, and they have Xander Rowe or Ziegel, but he's only signed for next season or through 54 rather. So yeah, I like Pisley Husk.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was thinking we put Pisley Husk here, so and finish up the mock. All right. So this is what we think it's going to look like as of week 14. What we think the first two rounds are going to look like, not factoring any trades. I feel that this is a very good mock, probably the most accurate one to date. Anyway, that's that. So let's move on to the questions I have here from a couple weeks ago. This is from another rookie in the class, Too Sweet actually, who in our mock we projected to go second overall. They're pretty much everywhere. So the first
Yeah,
question they asked us is, how do you personally balance Discord activity and forum activity, And at what value do you consider someone who is locker room friendly but not a max earner as compared to a max earner who doesn't contribute much in the locker room? Oof. As a former GM, the locker room culture thing to me is everything. Like for me, I'd rather have a good locker room guy that's a mid earner compared to a guy who's silent and won't respond, who's a max earner.
So I'm in the war room in my PBE minor league room, and I would 100% agree. I would much rather have someone who is just easy to be around to BS with, and maybe they don't earn the max, but they still earn a little bit, than I would someone who just doesn't talk to us at all. Because the biggest part of this game is the community, in my opinion. Like we're here all, we're all here trying to do this thing just to meet people and have a good time. And I'm not going to ever take this thing so seriously that I'm more worried about earning every last TPE than I am to being a decent human being. So
Yeah. Okay. We pretty much put that on the board. Pretty obvious there. Okay, next question. He asked, is with so many prospects in this year's draft, would you consider trading future picks to get early picks this year? Trading the uncertainty of future classes for the guarantee of a bigger class here? If I'm one of the teams in the rebuild, I would say yes. This is probably the strongest class they've had in a long time. Because remember, S53 is considered one of the worst classes in a long time. Heck, there were some IA players going in round 2 that year. So if I were to say there, I wouldn't go all in, but I would have at least have multiple first or multiple seconds. Hell, you can even have a second to get a first round player out of that.
yeah. I would say yes, but I also want to caveat this with how strong this class is. I don't think there's going to be a lot of teams wanting to give up their picks. So it's going to be tough to do that.
Because this year it definitely feels like it's a buyer's market draft compared to this.
Also, that we didn't answer the first question he had there with Discord and forum activity. I am definitely way more active in Discord than I am in the forum. I like to get on the forum and read an article here and there, but it's just way easier and quicker, in my opinion, just to get in Discord and talk to everybody.
Same here. I'm more somebody who originally started more as a locker room person, but struggled to be on the forum. Yellowknife helped correct me to be that way. To be fair, I was pretty much a massive asshole to deal with back in the day. So, yeah, I would say forum. You literally only have to log in once a week to do all your tasks.
Yep.
Like if you know a way, like for like a league job or something, you could easily be able to hang on.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Next question here, and ironically, it's from some coach over here. Any thoughts on agents? So, a lot of people, for a while, one of the biggest controversies in the league is agents. So, agents is this: you don't have a player, but you have to pay like 10 mil a season to be one, which is kind of fair because you're talking to the GMs for the player. Like, let's say a player is very anxious or something, and is scared of talking to people. That's what an agent's there for. So they can get the best thing for their player, get them to the best situation possible, and not make the other user look like a dick or something.
So this is the first I've heard of this idea. So I'm answering completely off the cuff. I don't see a great need for them. I understand maybe some people don't like to talk and have those discussions, but also, I mean, what are the agent are like are the agents going to also have their own player? Because otherwise, what is the money for? Like, what are they doing with it?
Right. All right. So, let's take a look into our next question here, and it's going to be looks like our final one. This is from Devo. Uh, he writes, "Team culture is always the top billing. What is the second choice when deciding on players to choose?" Oh, that's tough.
So I
So
think this goes
it's
kind
pretty
of back to that first question. What's better, locker room or max earning? And to your point, you've already said, locker room's top billing. He's saying team culture is the top billing. This I think choice number two for me has to be, is this person going to stay active and like actually be in the game for the long haul? Because
Yeah, will they be committed to the team or something,
yeah,
or they don't want to draft somebody that's gonna leave after the rookie contract, or they don't end up immediately regretting getting picked there and demanding a trade or something.
yeah. Like I want to make sure that I'm getting someone who, like, yeah, they might be doing great early on, but I don't want you to burn out either. I want you
Yes,
to be here for 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons, and then we can talk from there. If hey, maybe this isn't the right locker room for me, or hey, maybe I want to recreate because I'm finding I wish I would have made an offensive player instead of a defensive player, or vice versa. Um,
like that's the thing I always ask. Like during your scouting conversations, they will always ask, like, "Do you have questions for me or the team?" Always ask, in my opinion, what situation you're going into, how would switching affect it, or so you can get to know what the team is going to feel like locker room wise and what to expect for your player on the field if they select you.
yeah, yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's pretty much my big advice to. All right. So before we wrap this up, I'm going to go back to show our board we made. So, any bold predictions on any player that is either on this board or may go higher than expected?
Hmm. So, like I said before, I had a conversation where I heard Black Forest might do something crazy at the top. I'm going to predict that they do not take JQ and that they end
And
up
watch it be the running back pick. Watch it be the run.
and they end up
Because if
taking
they're gonna do the crazy running back pick, it's gonna be a recreate, and it's probably gonna be somebody like me, for example. It's
yeah. I was going to say they're going to end up taking someone like Trenches number 1 overall.
like trenches. I
CK.
can yeah. Like, but I cannot possibly rule myself out as first overall. But I don't view, even though I don't view myself as first overall material. Like the highest I've ever gone in the draft was fifth overall in PBE. So
I didn't know you were in the PBE too. Who do you play for in the PBE?
yeah, I'm with Nashville.
Okay. I'm in Anchorage right now, but yeah, I'll be
What
in
team?
Outer Banks soon enough.
Oh, Outer Banks, pretty good organization there.
Yeah, Benny and Bailey are great, and
Yeah,
I know they're
Bailey's an
both in.
excellent user. Also, current HO over here as well in ISFL. Okay, and my bold prediction as well. Don't be surprised if there's going to be, from the way it looks, the running backs are probably. I expect at least. I'm bold to say this: the first quarterback that's not named Buford probably doesn't get taken until like late round 2, early round 3. Because most of the teams either have their GM do quarterback these days, or if a GM really only has, they will pretty much only take a chance if the user is like an established recreate. Because 9 times out of 10, they will tell a first gen QB to switch
Yeah, I like that
based
too.
on my experience.
And it wouldn't even shock me if Muford fell further than what we have him here at 4, just because
Because here's the thing, Osaka could wait, because if Buford is trying to force his way to Osaka, they could wait to take him.
even if he's not necessarily actively trying to force his way to Osaka, like you were just saying, not very many teams need a quarterback. So Osaka could sit there at 3 and 4, grab a running back, and maybe grab either the receiver Waliki or Vega if they want to go corner, and maybe
Yeah.
get Osaka all the way down in round 2. Oh no, they have to take Triceracop there. Could they wait till
Yeah,
round
but
3
here's
to
the thing
get?
with the second. So they kind of have to take the quarterback there, unless they trade down.
It'd be a
That's,
risk, but I don't know how many teams are looking at a quarterback. So
yeah, in my opinion, it's
they might be able to to do something, maybe trade down from 4 and grab like, pick, and just spitballing, pick like 22, 23 if New York wants to move up or Colorado wants to move up for something specific, and uh get Osaka there.
yeah. So another bold prediction here is, for the first time in a while, I have no idea where I think they'll end up. Like, before we wrap this up, if you were to look at your current scouting conversations that you've had, based on those, where do you think you're going?
So if you would have asked me that yesterday, I would have said Osaka because I was under the impression that Big Man Blastoise was not coming out because somebody had told me that, or maybe I misunderstood
That he was
something.
planning on recreating, but as
Um,
of right now, not the case.
right. So I was thinking I might end up in Osaka at pick 17. In fact, that's where I mocked myself, I believe, in my own mock draft. But
You put yourself
now
at 17, but now
I
know
put
where the
myself,
GM is.
yeah. Um, So taking into account that Osaka is going to probably get Blastoise there and doesn't need a defensive tackle, just based on the conversations I've had, I I could, I've been very open with everyone that I'll play any position outside of quarterback. I don't want to have quarterback be my first build, and frankly, I wouldn't blame the teams for not wanting somebody with a new build as a quarterback. I get why they wouldn't. Um, I really had a good conversation with everybody I've had, like everyone I've talked to. I've talked to 8 teams so far. Um, I
For
think
example, only talking the 6. I don't.
I think either New York or Austin would be where I would expect to go. Maybe Honolulu, but I don't see myself as a top 7 pick, and maybe I'm underselling myself. I would love to go 1 overall. I don't think I will, but I don't know if I can go top 7, especially with how strong this draft is, which makes me think Honolulu might not happen. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's really not been a bad conversation I've had. So final answer, I'm going to say New York.
If you were to ask me a couple of days ago, I would say I have no idea what you're talking about. But very recently, I've spoken to a few ones. I'll say the 6 I've spoken to. I've spoken to Black Forest. I've spoken to Osaka. I've spoken to Cape Town. I've spoken to Honolulu. I've spoken to Yellowknife. And I've spoken to NOLA. Now, NOLA was just checking on me just cuz. But with the rumor about Black Forest doing something crazy at 1, it could very well be somebody like me. They have said they are looking for a running back to complement Juosu. And they asked, "Are you fine with that?" And I said, "I'm fine with that." I've seen Jackie and Irish a lot in the Kansas City locker room. Now, I'm not say I'd say there's a good chance I'm there. Osaka's a good possibility because I have made obvious Tricera a Sig before with his Blastoise persona. Honolulu, I've had a very good talk with as well. Yellowknife, whenever there's activity in that locker room, I will occasionally pop up, but then they would tease me about the whole knots thing. I'm like, okay. And occasionally they will give me sync requests that I do. Austin, I put as another possibility, even though they have not talked to me yet, because I've had a previous player that spent their whole career there, and I'm good friends with a lot of the group there with Ahmed, Kaya, and Joe K. If you don't know, Joe K is basically my good old ride or die, not named Jamar. If you don't know, who is my actual brother, Jamar slash Bendover, who is the
Oh,
quarterback of
okay.
San Jose. So
So
there's that.
I've talked with Black Forest, Osaka, Honolulu, Colorado, Austin, New York, NOLA, and somebody else. Who am I forgetting? Arizona? Did I
Just
say
check your
Arizona?
DMs.
Arizona is the other one.
Arizona as well.
Yeah. And so
Like, if I were to say something out of those, it's tough. I kind of expect Cape Town to take me, but here's the thing. I don't expect to be available at their pick because I pretty much told myself this. If I'm available at Cape Town's pick, they are taking me right then and there. Because if they're because I could see them trading up, trying to get me or stop me from going to somewhere like Yellowknife, Black Forest, or Austin. I could go as high as one, but my floor is pick 16. So I'm going to say for now, Cape Town in the second round. Although a first round pick would be nice, I don't expect to go in the first round based on how everybody's mocking and how I personally feel how scouting conversations went. My best one so far was with Honolulu, to be honest with you. Black Forest one, it was pretty mid.
yeah, like I said, I walked away from each and every one of my conversations happy with the way it went. I think NOLA was probably the most in I personally enjoyed the NOLA conversation quite a bit.
Because they
The,
threw
the
so
pro,
many curveball. Because Team Money threw so many curveball questions at you, isn't
so
it?
it wasn't even T Money. It was one of their other scouts. The issue with NOLA is they don't pick at all
So
in this
I'm like, if
draft.
they're scouting, smells like I put as this as like, could they possibly move up? Like, let's take a look at Nola's board right now. Like, if they were to trade up, who would they take?
Well, they would have to trade for my future draft because their only pick in the first 3 rounds is the pick they have to use on T Money.
They don't need running back because wide receiver they're pretty young at. Wait a second, no, they need wide receiver. Ben
They could
Ye's going
use
to
a
be the
wide
top.
receiver. They also could use a defensive tackle. They only have Doctor Who, the Whovian. That is their only defensive tackle, and
If you don't know,
she's
the
season
Hoovian is their
45.
co-GM there in
Yep,
Nola.
yep, I knew that. So that's why, like, when they spoke with me, like the fit makes a lot of sense just based on what they need and what they have. But the issue is that they just don't have a pick.
Yeah, that's the scary thought, though, that there's going to be more teams reaching out within a couple days as we move closer. So after week 16, any team who is knocked out of the playoffs will probably reach out to you by then, unless they're like, oh, we know what we're dealing with. Like, for example, Austin kind of does not need to scout me anyway because they're like, Joe's like, I know what I'm dealing with Valor. Is that I can be a bit of a rattlesnake at times. Like, you ask anybody, feels like which person's easier to deal with, Valor now or Valor then? They would say easily me now because I was a big dick back then. I was a lot younger. I was only in my teens when I started in the league. Yeah, if you don't know, I'm actually only 21, so I'm
Good,
quite young.
good for you, man. I am not. I am.
I can
I'll be
tell.
I'll be 38 here soon.
Yeah, I've seen older users in the league. Like, I'm not sure, but the rumor is Cord, Orange County's guy, is very old. The rumor.
I know there's someone in the PBE. I cannot remember their username.
I think it's
But
Chess Safari, who's
yes,
very old.
Yes, he's like 70 something.
Because I remember we took him back when Emmy was still in charge. Rest in peace, by the way, of Kashima, and I was one of the big players there before before Diesel traded me. You know, so yeah, I know a lot of stuff about the league history.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that's another topic for another time. So anyway, I think we should wrap this up here.
Yeah, and hey, listen, man, I appreciate you having me on. I enjoyed it. I if you're willing to have me, I'm willing to come back on anytime you need a guest speaker.
Alrighty. Because I feel like I want to do like one on like the rookie Discord or something, like a live one that's not recorded. That I do a live draft reaction. I show the board too, and then pretty much I'll keep updating this board as the picks come in
Yeah,
officially. Like when we know the true final order, I will put it as that, and then watch closely for any trades.
yeah, sounds good, man. And like I
So
said,
yeah,
I'll
anywhere
happily
rookie
jump in.
Discord, I'm planning on holding a live draft watch party on the night of the draft, which is 2 weeks from Friday. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it is. Because if you don't know, the draft occurs behind the scenes because I may or may not, if Infinite Setting needs me, because I'm apparently on the short list of if they need to bring somebody in to do draft graphics, I'm available. So, because if I do, and I would basically just try to act surprised, but then I'm like, I'm not surprised because, well, I knew everything. Because essentially, you're not allowed to leak. Because if you get leak,
Oh
you
yeah,
get hit with a fine.
oh yeah. Don't I understand that? Like I said, I'm in the Anchorage Wheelers War Room, so we are currently
Yeah, the draft
mid
over
draft
there is
behind the
about to get
scenes.
going. The minors
We're
draft just got started pretty recently, and I'm doing graphics over there as well.
So, yeah, I already know we've made a selection. That's all I'll
A
say.
pick was made. We are not telling you who.
Yeah.
If so, PPE would Hummus would personally come to my door to take me out.
So the first round
Anyway,
is in order, is happening, but
Anyway, so I think we'll just wrap this up here. So thank you guys for listening into this podcast with myself and Noel. So I obviously the next time I'm probably going to do this is if I get enough questions for another one, I will be willing to do another one where I discuss the draft, any surprises or trades that caught everybody off guard, and how do we both enjoy our ISFL environments. So, until we meet again, on behalf of Noel and myself, this is Valor. Thank you for watching Valor Sports Network. And until we meet again, this is Valor signing off.